Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. And, well, it's Wednesday, November 27th in Pittsburgh, and it's a hockey night in Pittsburgh. Going to talk a lot about Penguins. That's going to be our lead topic today. Also want to get into just a few short thoughts on Pirates right fielders and Mike Tomlin as he met with the media yesterday. But the Penguins have my attention for a reason that I'm going to outline here shortly. And, well, they need to get it going, right? First, want to remind you this show is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right, so tomorrow is Thanksgiving. There will be no first 10 on Thanksgiving, but that's often an important marking point in the NHL season. Why? Well, more than 75% of teams the last 10 seasons that are in a playoff spot on American Thanksgiving stay there. Say American Thanksgiving because, we're accounting for Canada, right? But what that tells me is there's really only 25% of playoff spots up for grabs. Let's take that a step further. Where the Penguins sit right now, not good. Urgency, right? This is not, at least publicly acknowledged, a rebuild. This is not, at least publicly acknowledged, a wasted season. You've got Sidney Crosby coming back here because he wants to win. You have Evgani Malkin here, Kris Letang here, at least for the time being, because they want to win. Once again, this is traditionally, can tell you from covering the sport, it's a very important part of the season where, obviously the Penguins aren't going to be in playoff contention at Thanksgiving. What I mean is, numerically, their chances are just not good right now. And I know, I watch the games, you watch the games as well. We've seen the way they play. We've seen the trend line. We've seen the goaltending, all the other aspects. Understand all of it. But if this doesn't bring a sense of urgency, I don't know what does. It's shocking to me. But again, if you zoom out, think about what this season was supposed to be about. Think about the goal here, at least until another goal is acknowledged. Now, if somebody wants to come out and say publicly, we're rebuilding, trying to get to the trade deadline, going to make trades that, fix the roster for years to come or whatever, change the messaging, I get that. But as of now, the goal is to get this thing in gear because that's all that's been said publicly and compete. And they're a long way from that. Another thing, this is sort of sideways of that point, but part of the same discussion with the Penguins is Kyle Dubas. I'm really amazed, and I'm probably guilty of it too, on this podcast of talking a lot about Mike Sullivan. What did they do with the coach and how the Penguins play and blowing leads and, all the other things that you can go at. And again, there's a whole gigantic avenue of ways the Penguins need to be better there. Not saying that's untrue. But something that I don't think gets enough run, the number of poor moves Dubas has made. The number of moves that, if the Penguins would have done something differently, maybe we're not having this discussion. And just the sort of deteriorating track record. Like, I think when he got here, people were extremely optimistic about what Dubas can do. He's seen as this like younger whiz kid type, can kind of navigate a sticky situation for the Penguins. There's pretty good confidence. I think a lot of that may be tied to Ron Hextall and the job he did, and that Dubas was literally anyone other than Ron Hextall. At the same time, man, is that deteriorating? Like, you just see it go. And again, we're not having a conversation about the coach. It's not about the coach. I understand the frustration there. I hear about it daily. I've talked about it on here. I'm ignoring that. I'm talking about confidence in Dubas and how it relates to now. Philip Tomasino. He's going to make his Penguins debut tonight. Maybe you're a casual fan. You don't know who that heck that is, but Tomasino is a 23-year-old former first-round pick. Nashville took him in 2019. He's had some production. His rookie year scored 11 goals. Past 3 years, he really hasn't done much. He's bounced between the AHL, the NHL, and he's one of those new opportunity, high pedigree guys. We've seen them for years in the NHL. The Penguins have a couple of them. Cody Glass is one, even Jesse Puljujarvi. And Rutger McGroarty sort of falls into that one, although he's, hasn't had the NHL experience, hasn't had any NHL experience. But this has become a theme of Dubas's tenure. And I think you can argue it's kind of been, producing middling results as well. So I think there's a lot riding on tonight. That's sort of my setup for the game. Curious to see what Tomasino has. Hope he has something, but has not been a great track record. We could see Ryan Graves and Matt Grzelcyk both as healthy scratches. Again, those are Dubas acquisitions that are now in the press box. A Dubas move has been extending Tristan Jarry along with Karlsson. I understand why confidence there has eroded, and as the Penguins enter an important part of their build, the rebuild, whatever the heck you want to call it, it would be great if the confidence in the person making those decisions was a little bit higher. All right, I want to get through a little bit of what Mike Tomlin said yesterday at his press conference, as well as some thoughts on the Pirates in right field. But first, a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
And welcome back to First 10. We're here middle of the morning, Monday through Friday, about 10 minutes talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Thanks so much for finding us. So Mike Tomlin talked yesterday, was asked about a couple things. I know one of the biggest I was curious about was how would he handle the George Pickens thing? George Pickens involved in a fight with Greg Newsome at the end of last Thursday's Steelers-Browns game. I don't need to tell you that. You know that, right? I was curious how Tomlin would spin it. He doesn't necessarily discuss stuff like that publicly very much. I thought the comments about the Browns not being a very good team were more damning than the fight itself. I understand the physicality of football. I understand, stuff like that happens from time to time. An interview where you basically disparage your rival, completely unnecessary. Like, I thought that would get Tomlin's ire a little bit more. But anyway, here's what Tomlin had to say. I'm not going to add color to people's comments. I don't want them to be robots. I don't tell them what to think or say. So I've learned over the years not to add color to what people say. Those are their comments, their thoughts. If you want additional information or perspective on it, ask them. Devil's advocate here. He's the head coach of the team. You can tell them what to say. You can tell them to not say stuff like that because it's detrimental to the cause. You can tell them to not say stuff like that because it's a waste of time. Now, I understand Mike's probably going to handle things behind closed doors, and I respect that. He owes us nothing. Pickens owes us nothing, meaning members of the media. You don't have to go in that forum and air out a player. I get it. But I would hope that conversation is happening. You can and do have that responsibility as a coach to tell guys what to say. All right. Tomlin also defended his decision to have Justin Fields throw up a 50-50 ball to George Pickens late in the game on a 3rd and 4. I didn't like this. Tomlin's exact quote, that feels more like a 50-50. That feels like more than a 50-50 ball to me. I guess you don't hear things called a 60-40 ball or a 70-30 ball. But in any case, my problem with it isn't going to George Pickens. My problem is having Justin Fields throw it. You brought Russell Wilson here to do a job. Let him do the job. Justin Fields even talked after the game about feeling stiff, about not feeling like himself. Is a heave down the sideline? Does that just come out of nowhere? No, you stick with the guy who's in rhythm. But we've gone over that stuff. I don't know. Just that one struck me in kind of an odd way. All right, last minute here, I want to talk a little bit about Pirates right fielders. Got into this briefly, but wrote a column about it a couple days ago, and I didn't realize the numbers were this bad, to be honest with you. Like, I knew anecdotally it wasn't very good, but if you look at things like home runs, OPS, WRC plus, a number where 100 is considered league average, the Pirates were very, very bad. 11 homers, 614 OPS, that WRC plus, 72. Nobody had fewer wins above replacement. No position on the Pirates produced fewer wins above replacement, negative 2.2. That figure was also 29th across Major League Baseball. So if you haven't read it yet, maybe give a chance to check it out. I suggested 3 guys. In having covered the Pirates, my confidence level in them signing with the Pirates as free agents is not terribly high. However, they are guys that I would like to see the Pirates pursue, and I'm not going to ignore that. Tyler O'Neill is one. He's projected 3 years, $42 million, probably more than the Pirates are going to spend in free agency. Hit 31 homers last year for the Red Sox, obviously the longtime Cardinal. More probably reasonable with the Pirates and what they do. Max Kepler is a guy who intrigues me. Has a history of working with Derek Shelton, has some decent power numbers in the past, can hit, can defend decently well. And Kepler's coming off a down year. The Pirates tend to target those guys, some familiarity, trying to prove himself, trying to get back to a certain level of production. Kepler would fit that. Michael Conforto is kind of a wild card for me. The longtime Met, spent the past couple seasons with the Giants. When he's healthy, he's been really good. Has just had some injury issues. He's projected only at 2 years, $18 million. For a player of his caliber, I thought that was pretty reasonable, but we'll see what the Pirates do. Again, there's column post-gazette.com to check that out. Please give it a read. Make sure you also like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and so much more from our Post-Gazette team. We'll not be here on Thanksgiving. Make sure you and yours have a wonderful holiday, eat a bunch of food, watch a bunch of football, and we'll be back here on Friday morning on First 10.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.